Check 1, 2. What is up, guys? John Killingsworth here. Just doing a quick update video on my burnout recovery. You might have seen my video last week of just me explaining the process, what I went through, and all that. And this is just an update. So to document the goal, which is to document my journey of recovery. And you don't have to watch these in order. You can watch the one before if you want, but you can just continue on from this week. It's up to you. And you'll learn plenty from them. So today, as of today, we are August 9th, 2021. So it's been about a week and a half since last video, but I'm going to publish them like 1 week apart. And what has changed since then? What has changed is I have a bit more energy. I feel more motivation. I feel more confident in my ability to do work. And I want to attribute this to two things. Two things that I did that really helped me is my girlfriend is playing Valorant in the background. You might hear. So two things. The first thing is I started applying cognitive therapy techniques. So I started reading this book called Feeling Good by David Burns. There's also a second part of the book called Feeling Great, which is two fantastic books. If you suffer from burnout, depression, whatever, any sort of mental ailment or illness, or just if you have negative thoughts that you want to have better thinking, be happier, I really recommend these two books. And so I started doing these techniques of positive reframing of my thoughts and just analyzing the negative thoughts, some of the negative thoughts I had and all that. And those were really helpful because with these, I was able to now think more positively. So for example, I questioned some of the thoughts I had. So one of the main thoughts that I had that was really negative was, I'm too tired to do anything. Well, is that truly the case? Am I really truly tired to do anything at all? I'm sure that I can do some things, right? So I started questioning the thought, and I realized that it wasn't true because I had enough energy to work out a little bit. It wasn't like full capacity, but it was a little bit. I had the capacity to go for a walk. I had the capacity to, brush my teeth, to go outside, and, even if it was simple things like do some errands, like, I could do them. And then I started realizing the faulty assumptions in my beliefs, questioned them, and then after I understood the negative belief, I stated a more positive belief to replace the negative belief. So for example, I'm too tired to do anything, that's a negative belief. First step is I identify what type of distortion it is. Well, it's an overgeneralization. It's not true that I can't do anything at all. It's also all or nothing thinking. It's like either I can do everything or I can't do anything at all. Well, I don't have to be able to do everything all at once, right? I can do a few things and that's fine. So an example of a positive thought would be that you would say, well, yes, I might be tired to do certain things, but that doesn't mean I can't do anything at all. There are many things I can do. For example, do the groceries, go for a walk, do some exercise, even shoot a video, which I did, which I'm really proud of because it wasn't easy to do, especially if you haven't done videos in months. It was hard to start again, but I'm glad that I started again, and at my own pace. But so yeah, that's just an example of something I've been doing to really help me just in my recovery, because recovery is, I believe that it's a matter of the body as well. Your physical body is tired, or you lack the actual energy, but it's also very mental. There's a lot of a mental component to recovering from burnout, where you have to look at what kind of mentality, what kind of thoughts or cognitive behavior, any behaviors that might have led you to that point. And in my case, it was a mixture of perfectionism, high expectations, obsession over the wrong things, the wrong values. In that case, trying to make as much money as I could, and it just led me astray, right? So pinpointing the root causes is crucial to avoiding burnout in the future, I believe. And now I talked to this about this with my psychologist that I spoke to earlier today, and he said that it seems like from our session together, it seems like the perfectionism is it might have been a contributor to your burnout. That's sort of what he explained, and he said that that there's a right balance of things, and I think burnout occurs because we lose our balance somehow. We do too much. Usually, it's a matter of too much, right? And if you do too little, then it's something else. Maybe it's depression. If you don't take enough action, you'll end up depressed. Or if you don't do anything at all, then you'll just be lazy. But burnout is usually the other extreme. Is like doing too much, taking too much action, being too hard on yourself, or so on and so forth. The type of problems that a lot of sort of type A driven type of personalities struggle with, right? And so that was the case for me. And I realized that I have to dial this down. And he said that, what I have to do is I have to be aware of the perfectionism when it arises. Just be aware of it. Bring my conscious awareness to the perfectionism and question the thought, question the assumption, question the expectations, and be like, well, is that so that expectation that I always have to keep the house clean, always have to put everything in order, and that it shouldn't be a single little thing that's messy in the house, is that reasonable? Is that functional? Sort of ask myself these questions because I've also been perfectionistic in other areas, not just my work, and just question these assumptions and ask myself, well, if that is too much, then what would be a more functional alternative? Well, for example, it would be that, I can leave a few things that are messy around the house. I can leave a few imperfect things, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And if a certain day I'm really tired, I don't feel like, cleaning up the house, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to do it the next day. And it's not the end of the world. Because, a messy apartment, sometimes that's maybe the source of breakthrough in a weird, odd sense. Because when your apartment is messy, you don't worry about cleaning it up. You have more focus on your career, on your passion, which was one of the oddest things, but one of the most creative moments in my life, in Nameless and all that, where I was, making the most out of my videos and the most out of my films and montages on YouTube is I had a really messy room and I didn't care because I was so focused on making the best video that I just didn't care about the messiness of my house. And that was like a point where I wasn't burnt out at all. I was like fully engaged, fully happy. And it's like when you focus on the right things, on the right values, on, you don't do things out of obsession, like a unhealthy obsession, but you do it out of love, out of passion, then I think it's really hard to burn out if you're really doing the things from the right place and you give yourself some rest and you don't expect perfectionism. So that was my realization, really. And the second thing that helped me sort of feel better is also setting very small goals. So, for example, in the last week or so, I set myself the goal, okay, well, I'm going to finish that audiobook section. I'm going to do this exercise in the journal. I'm going to do those cognitive therapy techniques on myself. I'm going to do at least that for an hour or two. And, I can play video games while I listen to the audiobook. It doesn't matter, but I have to listen to the audiobook, right? I start giving myself also an easy way to do it. So, for example, I give myself permission to play a video game while I listen to the audiobook, right? As long as, it's not a super focus intensive game. So, I can pretty much listen pretty well to the audiobook. So, it just make it so the goal is easy to achieve. And I think when you're burnt out, it's very important you set goals that are just very easy, very small at first, just to give yourself slowly the confidence that you can do things, right? For example, if I try to dive in the deep end and, do like a 1 hour long video, like incredibly researched with the whole editing, the music, the professional lighting, and all that, then I would just go insane, right? I don't think I'd be able to do it right away, or I'd struggle quite a bit. And just doing those baby steps, for this video, for example, is it's more than enough. Like for this video, I set my phone. This is my phone. I'm filming from my phone right now. I put on the wide angle lens. I put one light. That's it. I just film. I don't prepare anything. I don't script anything, and just making this goal small and achievable, it makes all the difference. Just to make it small, and do that. I did that for a few days in a row and up to a week, and then I was comfortable to set a slightly bigger goal. So for example, at the beginning, it was just like, okay, listen to the audiobook a little bit and then call it a day. And then afterwards, it was, okay, listen to the audiobook, and if you can, do a workout. Go for some cardio. Like it doesn't have to be running. You go do some longboarding. And that's what I did. And it really... when I started longboarding again, I did that like a few days ago. I really got back in touch with this sort of childhood spirit of adventure that, I've forgotten about, like the last few months, the last few years maybe, because I was so immersed in my business or, trying to make money that, I forgot about all the things that fueled me, that rejuvenated me. And you have to get back in touch with those things that make you feel good, that rejuvenates you while you're recovering. Because if you don't know the things that are going to make you feel better, then how are you going to feel better? If you don't know the things that are going to help you rest, then how are you going to rest? It's strange because resting isn't actually like a passive thing, like you do nothing. I feel like resting, it has to also be like a sort of an active thing. So you engage in, for example, meditation, or maybe you do a bit of yoga, which I've done a bit. You do a bit of, you take a walk in the park. So see, those are like actionable steps for resting. Because if you just mind numb yourself and play Call of Duty 18 hours a day on your couch, I mean, are you really resting? I don't think so. I've had certain days like the last month or so where played video games for like 12 hours in a single day. And I didn't really feel rested after that, honestly. I didn't feel like I've actively recovered. And it kind of felt like stagnation. So at the beginning, you want to be easy on yourself, like indulge in the things that, I think for me, indulging in video games the first month of my recovery was important for me, because I never gave myself permission to, play games to this extent, because, I was always this workaholic person. And it was quite a shift in experience to just allow myself to fully let go, like completely let go, that I can do whatever I want. And it was nice and refreshing while it lasted. And then, but I realized it wasn't something I could do, for the rest of my life, of course, and it wasn't sustainable to keep doing that. But for the time being, I felt like it was necessary. So I don't know, maybe if you're going through burnout, you need to find that thing that sort of release this need. I don't know, like you have to be like a pent-up need that you haven't, a pent-up desire or dream that you want to, you always wanted to do, but you couldn't because of work or whatever reason. And now that you're resting, now that you're burnt out, now that you can't do anything, how about you try it out? How about you indulge a little bit and you give yourself permission to do these things without feeling guilty? Because, the problem with me is I've always had this weird sense of guilt from resting and not taking action, which is a bit strange, but I think might be strange to some people. But if you're in the personal development uh, you know, community and all that, and you follow a lot of self-help, then you might fall for this trap where, you always want to improve yourself, you always want to grow yourself, take action, and honestly, it can burn you out. Even doing things like meditation, if you do it from the wrong place, I think it could even be negative. Like you tell yourself, oh, I have to meditate today. If I don't, then screw myself, right? And if you do it from that place, it's like you're sort of punishing yourself and telling yourself, well, if I don't meditate, I'm not good enough, or if I don't meditate, bad things will happen, right? Like my psychologist said that, like, yeah, you shouldn't meditate because you're afraid that you're gonna go insane or whatever. Like you should meditate because it would be good and you will enjoy it, which is the case, which is why I meditate, right? So these two things, like cognitive therapy techniques and setting small goals, really was really paramount to my recovery, and also discovering some of my long lost sort of pleasures like longboarding, and in moderation video games as well. I'm gonna be honest. So these things really helped, and of course, going out, meeting, being social with my friends. And I remember I read one of the comments from the previous video. One of you guys said, "Oh, it's with the whole COVID thing, and I totally understand what you're going through, and might have played a role." And it's true. It's true that when you isolate yourself, and when I isolate myself, I tend to hyper focus on something which could be good but also bad, because then I hyper focused on Nameless, on my business, which was good short term, but long term there was less social interaction. And obviously one of my greatest joys in life, you guys probably know, is music festivals. Going to a nice rave or music festival, listen to some trance music, and just dance for no reason, dance without a goal, and just enjoy the music. And maybe I shoot a crazy video out of it, who knows. And that was out of my life, so I guess that was hard. So burnout during the current COVID context was quite difficult. But now I'm glad that things are easing off. We had a vaccine. Things are getting better, and now we can go out and meet friends. So that's what I've been doing. I've been hanging out with friends. Socializing is so important, I think, just for any, whether it's depression or anxiety or whatever, just like hanging out with supportive people that love you is just so important. And if you don't have any friends, I have empathy for you, empathize with you. But I recommend you still go out and try to meet people. Even if you don't have friends, you can still relate with someone else, and just the act of relating and having this connection, really helps. It doesn't have to be a friend also. So if you don't have friends, go out and meet friends, for example. So yeah, those are the main things. And yeah, I remember last video I spoke about my doctor and all that. My psychologist, I explained this situation to my psychologist, and my psychologist was kind of annoyed about my doctor. So she was like this, basically she was trying to almost force me to go back to work without me being ready yet. And now he convinced her that to give me another month of medical leave, which is great. So now I have basically 1 month of not going to my part-time job, so I'll have all this time to dedicate to my recovery and slowly building up my confidence to make these videos about weekly or so, just so if I can make these videos, if I can work, I can do some sort of productive thing, then I have the confidence that I can bounce back from burnout. And I'm shooting this video right now, and it's not taking too much energy. I feel kind of laid back now. I don't feel like I don't feel too much of the pressure to be perfect or perform. I'm just shooting a video, and that's great. That's great. So I don't have much else to say. I think in week 1 it was mostly the bulk of the work. bulk of what's been going on. For this, I'd say for this week, those are sort of the main points. I still feel tired. I still feel groggy, a bit of mind fog at times. Like for example, right now I have a bit of a headache. I have more frequent headaches since my burnout, and the headaches are still there. Sorry, I still have a bit of insomnia. All right, so yesterday I just couldn't sleep until 2 a.m. You know, my sort of circadian rhythm is kind of messed up sometimes. Like just looking at the time, okay. Yeah, so my circadian rhythm sometimes is having a bit of hard time just like sort of staying, like going to bed at the same time and all that. So that's been a bit difficult at times. But yeah, I think it's slightly getting better. So, you know, some of these symptoms maybe are just, maybe they're psychosomatic, meaning that because I have these negative thoughts, I'm creating the physical manifestation, right, in my body, like tiredness and, you know, brain fog. Maybe it's coming from these negative thoughts, but maybe. But I'd say that the negative thoughts now have cleared up a bit. But, you know, even though I'm feeling better right now, I don't want to jump on the opportunity and just start shooting, like, you know, a million videos and working 18 hours a day. I don't think that would be smart. So I still need to slowly get myself back, you know. And how I'll do that is just monitor my symptoms, monitor how I'm feeling, monitor my progress. You know, as I keep doing these cognitive therapy techniques on myself, and I keep following the advice of my psychologist, I feel like I'd be able to slowly recover and hopefully make more content, more detailed content, and more in-depth content for you guys. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what if you have any thoughts, suggestion, whatever, what you thought of the video. And yeah, and I'll be shooting a video probably next week or 2 weeks, I don't know. Just a quick update on what's been going on and everything. So on that note, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.